Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. So, really quick today, as promised, I wanted to let everybody know that the North Carolina permitting requirements are actually available now out here for our tegus. So, it wasn't too long ago we put out a video regarding the tegu ban proposal out here in North Carolina. At the time that it passed, we didn't have the actual permitting requirements that we was going to need in order to keep these guys past August of this year. Well, we've got that information now, and I'm going to put that out. I'm going to show you guys the application, go over what we need to do in order to secure our animals here after August 2022. And we're going to talk about tegus a little bit for you guys as well. So you won't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back on Intrepid Exotics. Whether you're a lifelong keeper or just getting started, help us encourage responsible keeping, conservation, and public education in the interest of keeping our reptiles safe and healthy as we protect them for future generations. You're invited to spend time with us as we experience these awesome animals together on Intrepid Exotics. So I hope everybody's been doing really well out there. Like I was saying, we've got the information now on the permits for the black and white tegus. I'm going to go ahead and put that up real quick so everybody can take a look. So this is the form, guys. It's really simple, as you can see. At least they made this nice and easy for us. All we got to do is just put in, our basic information up top here, and your driver's license numbers, about as personal as it gets there. There's the permit type. So I think most of us are going to fall into the private individuals category. Anybody else in these, of course, you'd know who you are. And the species that we're going to have to be permitted for out here in North Carolina after this, after August 2022, is the African clawed frog, red-eared sliders, brown anoles, Argentine black and white tegus, Asian newts, the greenhouse frog, and the Cuban tree frog. And it's really important that all of us that have got any of these animals, I know, of course, the Argentine black and white tegu was the big one, the one that all of us have been up in arms about. Needless to say, obviously, because I've got one, and I've got to admit, I'm just really happy that I'm able to keep her. If it costs me $10 and sending a form out to Fish and Wildlife for it, so be it. So the last video that we put out about this, of course, we didn't have the permitting information and so forth. But we also talked a little bit about, how it may not be a great idea if you don't have any experience with Argentine black and white tegus or large lizards in general, to try and rush out and get one real quick and beat the permitting deadline. Now, I've got a lot of lizards, got a lot of snakes, and I've got to say that this black and white tegu here, she's got to be one of the sweetest animals that I've got, period. I open up the enclosure door, she comes out on my arm, she loves to interact. She's perfectly happy up here just hanging out and so forth. But she's not always going to be the easiest animal to care for, simply because, they're going to get about 4 feet long. So when she's full grown, she's going to require a pretty sizable enclosure. We're talking, a good 8x3 for her. The real healthy water supply, and when they're not brumating, she loves to eat. And as long as she doesn't try and eat my face while we're up here talking, we'll be all right. What are you doing, girl? But of all the lizards that I have here, I've got some leopard geckos, some crested geckos, all the way up to my Nile monitor lizard. A couple bearded dragons as well. And one of the things that I really like about tegus is the fact that, they're large enough to where you don't have to worry about hurting them when you handle them. Like the leopard geckos and so forth. You gonna hang out, girl? Come on. Ah! Come on now. Work with me, girl. So somebody's getting bored and wants to run around now. It's crawling up on my head there for a second. But one of the things about Argentine black and white tegus and some of the other tegu species. That's really cool is they're not as fragile as your leopard geckos and your crested geckos and things like that. You don't have to worry about them dropping their tails or getting hurt when you handle them. And typically, they've got a really good disposition. As you can see, this girl right here would hang out with me just as long as I let her. She likes to run around a little bit and likes to climb and whatnot. And the claws can be a little fun to deal with, but she doesn't have a mean bone in her body. She's not too hard to feed. When they're younger, they're going to start out on more of a carnivorous diet, and then as they get older, start adding. They'll become a little bit more omnivorous. But real easy to take care of, and the real easy part of it is the brumation cycle, because you're looking at 4 to 6 months out of the year with these guys, where they're gonna bury their head in the sand and they're not gonna eat or drink or need any heat or nothing. They're just gonna be down brumating. Now that's something that you've really got to be aware of, especially if you've not gotten one of these and you want to try and get one before the August permit requirements hit, because you've got to be prepared to, you may spend a few $100s on a pet and a few $100 more on the enclosure and so forth. And, depending on when you get her, just like her, when I got her, she was home for maybe 2 days to a week, something like that. Went into brumation, didn't see her for 4 months. So, you've got to be prepared for that. There's going to be a good portion of the year where you're not going to see her. With her, I did go in about once a month just to check on her and kind of watching what her weight was at and so forth. And then I eventually pulled her out of brumation, kind of thinned out her substrate some so she couldn't get down there and get completely buried. Started, feeding and things like that. And she perked right up. It worked out really good. But it's just something that you got to be aware of. And you got to be prepared for the space too. Like I said, as adults, these guys are going to require pretty sizable enclosures. Now, they're not going to use it half the year, but you're still going to have it available for them. Now, it was a couple months ago that I was contacted by a journalist, producer from North Carolina Public Radio, who had happened to run across the old video that I'd made when we was first talking about the Tegu bands and so forth, and some of the things that we needed to keep in mind before you just go out and try to impulse buy one. And I've talked with her already. We've done about an hour and a half long interview that she's editing up. It's set to publish in July. So, of course, when that comes out, I'll post the link on that so everybody can listen to it. But one of the things that she was asking, kind of the whole heart of the conversation is, she'd interviewed breeders and she'd interviewed biologists and so forth about this. And, of course, some of the information that she had gotten was kind of mixed between the different sources. And she contacted me because she wanted to find out, what it's like, what the value these animals have to us is, how intelligent are they? How easy are they or difficult are they to work with? So we had a really long, good discussion about that. So anyway, we're still going to work on getting this regulation changed on the Argentine black and white tegus, because any breeder that you talk to who's attempted to, have these animals outdoors over the winter here in North Carolina, they're not going to survive. It just gets entirely too cold out here in the wintertime. Once you've got a couple days of freezing temperatures and so forth, then, these guys are done. So, we don't have to worry about these guys being invasive like they are in Florida. But of course, as lawmakers go, monkey see, monkey do. Hey, it was a good idea in Florida. Maybe it's a good idea out here in North Carolina too. Well, it's two completely different areas, two completely different climates, and two completely different ecosystems between North Carolina and Florida. So the laws, of course, should be completely different. The cookie cutter stuff in a country as big as ours just does not work when it comes to wildlife. But that's neither here nor there. The big thing today is, like I said, you've seen the permit. I'll put the links and everything down in the description. So that if you have one now or you're expecting to get one before August, I would definitely get that filled out, get it in, get it taken care of, because unfortunately this is something that we've just got to be in compliance with. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We may not like all of the laws that are going to hit, and the way that we deal with it isn't by breaking them. We're going to have to comply. We're going to have to play the game up until the point where we can get somebody down there to listen to reason about these animals, because these really are probably, in my opinion, of all of the animals that I've got, this is probably one of the best pet reptiles you can own, hands down. I really absolutely love this girl, and she just got so much energy today now. She's starting to wake up. She wants to run around and check stuff out, but I'm not gonna let her. Come on, girl. So she's starting to get really rambunctious now. I'm going to go ahead and put her back in the house and let her run around. And don't forget, guys, get subscribed to the channel, like the video, get it out to more people, especially if you got friends out here in North Carolina or something. Pass it along to them so that they can see, what specific hoops we need to jump through for all of this stuff. And I will talk to you guys next time on Intrepid Exotics. You guys have an outstanding day. Bye.